we've intentionally reached out to a lot of people, especially even people in the Haitian government as well, because we understand that Haiti needs the Haitian government. I don't mean just the president. So you can't say just because you know how to do this one thing here, you
Doesn't
also
mean you
understand how to
know
do it in Haiti.
over there. I
It's
would.
changing foreign policy, to changing how aid is delivered in Haiti,
Hmm.
and to lead towards self-sufficiency where Haiti is not dependent on aid. In the near future, I see Haiti policy as like a hub.
Hello, hello. My name is Jean-Jacques, founder of Centre NGO. Today's episode, we are interviewing Wolf Pamphile of Haiti Policy House, organization that you should know that is operating in the United States. Wolf, if you don't mind, maybe give us a little brief introduction of Haiti Policy House and what basically is your primary objectives, how you guys started, why you guys started, and obviously go into the aspect of explaining what a think tank is, because not many of us know what it is.
Thank you so much, Debbie. This is amazing. Thank you so much for having me. You are one of our board members, and I think we're truly blessed to have you with us. And I think South NGO is like one of those essentials in our community and something that we needed. And you've been working on this for the longest, like 8 years plus. And we're grateful to have you. Haiti Policy House is a think tank. And I think the word think tank for us in the history is fairly new. I mean, think tank's been around forever, but in the context of Haiti or Haiti in the diaspora, the term is fairly new. And our main purpose, our think tank's purpose, there are different purposes for different think tanks, but for us, our main purpose is influencing foreign policy that are, I guess, heading towards Haiti. So
Mhm.
U.S. foreign policy, Dominican Republic foreign policy, France, Canada, any kind of foreign policy in general going towards Haiti, impacting Haiti. We want to know what's happening. We want to influence. We want to make sure that it has Haitian voices. And there are policies that will have negative impact on Haiti. And we want to act against these to be like, hey, this is a policy that would benefit certain countries, but would have a disastrous impact on Haiti itself and its people.
Mhm.
And for the longest, we didn't have that capacity or that space to create something. We have a lot of advocacy groups um, in the around the world focusing on Haiti or even in Haiti itself, but that's very reactionary. You know, we it's like a reactive state where something already happened. Like if we're advocating for migrant rights, if we're advocating for immigration, that's a reactive stance compared to being there when the policy is being drafted. Like, hey, this is being drafted about whether it's asylum seekers, whether whatever it might be, parolees. Um, we're putting forward this policy. How is it going to impact 5 years from now when
Mhm.
it's actually in place and acting? And making sure like it has all the proper mechanism for it to work and also not have adverse impact on Haiti. And I mean, the one thing that we're not, in that same vein, one thing that we're not is we're not an advocacy group and we're not a lobbying group. We don't lobby. We don't advocate. I mean, in a sense, we are all advocates for Haiti in a sense, like personally,
Mhm.
because you know every room we're in, if we're the only Haitian in the room, then personally I'm here representing Haiti,
That's
you
true.
know, as a Haitian person, right?
And one thing
But
I would say that I love about, I guess, I guess the roadmap that we're trying to take, as well as the step that you guys are trying to take, is that you guys are utilizing data to help you in your decision making.
exactly, exactly. So that's one of our pillars to is making sure how can we be as scientific as possible, removing a lot of the emotions, removing a lot of the nuances and political biases. How can we be as objective as possible in
Mhm.
promoting certain policies, right? And I mean, the idea, it's obvious to say, like, you know, we started Haiti Policy House because we're Haitian. But actually, in reality, real answer is that for me personally, as the founder, I couldn't find an organization or a think tank that prioritized Haiti's foreign policy. there are tons of think tanks in DC that, they do foreign policy work for Latin America. They say Latin America and Caribbean, but if that Caribbean part is never includes Haiti,
That's true.
it has all the other islands. Even, I remember one of my first meetings in DC with different think tanks, and I met with this person, and he said, he's like, oh, I'm starting a think tank too about for the Caribbean. I was like, oh wow, tell me more. Like what countries are you focusing on? He's like, well, we're focusing on the Caribbean, but Haiti and Cuba are not in it. And I'm like, but Haiti is half the population of the entire Caribbean, 11 million people. And he's like, yeah, Haiti's not a country right now, so it doesn't really make sense for me to focus on it because it's not a priority for us.
Wait. Did he say that Haiti is not a country right now?
Yeah, verbatim. I'm not even making this up. Verbatim. He's like, Haiti's not even a country right now, and it's not a priority. And he also didn't understand why I'm like, but I'm Haitian. It's always a priority for me. My family still lives there. My friends still live there. It's always a priority for me. And these are the things like, things like that would normally discourage people.
Yeah.
But that fueled me even more. I mean, I was angry, but at the same time, like, you know what? Let's channel this in the right way and then be productive about it. And the other part is taking ownership of our destiny. And the other thing that you learn quickly in DC is that there are a lot of people who are well-intentioned, who want to see Haiti become a better country, right? However, they see themselves as individuals, and they think that they are the best option to find the solution for Haiti. And compared to us, we're like, Haiti Policy House is not one person. And we don't think that one person knows what's best for Haiti. So once we launch Haiti Policy House, we ourselves are the shepherd for Haiti Policy House. And for it to exist 20, 30 years from now. So, and when you meet people like that in DC, they tend to be very closed, like small rooms with small groups of people that are not Haitian or doesn't have any Haitian voices at all in the room. And they think they know what's best for Haiti. They might be well-intentioned, but you're blind to whatever bias you might have and whatever impact you might have because you're not inclusive.
Which is, so, I would say like that is one common thread that I have noticed within the Haitian community, within the advocacy group, as well as within those individuals that would go, to Congress on behalf of the Haitian population, is that there is a lot of biases in their approach. And unfortunately, it's like they're speaking for the mass, but unfortunately, it's as if like they have a tendency to redact or insert their own emotion on their actions. I guess like that's one thing that I have noticed within the community. I guess my next question for you would be is like, how does Haiti Policy House research contribute to understanding and solving Haiti's geopolitical challenges?
Oh man.
You did say you love that question.
I do. I love it. Because there are two things at play here, right? One is that the approach that we take is that we don't assume that anyone involved in anything foreign policy related to Haiti knows anything about Haiti. That's a basic assumption. We don't go in thinking like they know. Doesn't matter if you spent 20 years working in Haiti, if you spent 20 years working in development, I don't assume that you know anything about Haiti, right? So the first thing that we're doing is educating people, creating like a Haiti 101 approach. And just going out to the basic level, like how many senators do we have in Haiti? How many prime ministers? I mean, there should be only one, but deputies, you might be surprised. Ministers. How many ministers do we have? And the other thing too is like demystifying the Haitian politics to the sense that when people talk about Haiti, especially in the foreign policy space, they think the president or the prime minister, right? But the Haitian government is huge. It's huge. You have so many different departments: agriculture, finance, planning, healthcare, education, tourism. And there's so many different aspects. And even tourism is a major stakeholder in foreign policy,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like how many visas are we getting? How people can easily travel to Haiti. And the other thing too, I remember during COVID, we had the COVID, what's it called, restrictions around travel,
Mm-hmm.
countries that Americans were allowed to go to. And a lot of the countries around the world were lobbying the US to remove certain sanctions, not sanctions, I mean certain restrictions around COVID, like health restrictions. And because they understand how that impacts
The tourism
their
sector. Yes.
tourism sector. And it's like, and when we're talking about Haiti and foreign policy, that's the other thing too. We're trying to demystify and illustrate how vast that area is. It's not just security. It's not just in international development or poverty, whatever it is people think it might be, poverty management, whatever they think it might be, or building a school or church. It's beyond that. And I think part of our goal is to illustrate how we can impact so many different aspects of foreign policy. It doesn't have to be just because when you think of it, just influencing the president, it seems impossible because you don't have direct connection to the president.
That's true.
You don't have direct connection to the prime minister, right? However, you might have direct connections to your mayor in Lagunave
Mm-hmm.
or Cap right?
Mm-hmm.
How can you impact tourism in Cap How can you impact tourism in Port-au-Prince? Tourism in Port-au-Prince. These are local people that we can work with and influence and see how foreign policy is impacting their town or their cities, right? Beyond Port-au-Prince. And if we're talking about decentralizing Haiti, we have to also think of decentralizing policies that are going to Haiti as well. So
I mean, you kind of like you kind of, I guess, open a can of worm just a little bit, but I love it. And as you said that, I guess what came to mind is the whole aspect of decentralization is that most people don't understand what policies in Haiti. It's really centralized in Port-au-Prince. Most of Haiti's policies are dated back from, 1989s. You could say during the time of Duvalier. I believe the last time, don't quote me on that, the last decree or policy that Haiti actually passed in Parliament could have been like in 2013-ish during the Mateli administration. And you don't necessarily see any new policies in place. And you will hear a lot of people said, like, when it comes to policies, when it comes to regulations, Haiti have all of that. But the problem that they have is actually putting it into action. Not only
exactly.
that, you unfortunately then have, I don't like using the word, I actually do, incompetent individuals within office that the population doesn't know how to veto out of office. And
Yeah.
I believe like that should probably all constitutions and our regulations, how we put people into power, then will then have to be reformatted, be reformed. There's a lot of policies in Haiti just today that I would say it needs to be reformed because it's not adaptable.
Yeah. And the other thing too we want to highlight is that our approach is not we are going to tell people living in Haiti because the real thing is that it's because we live in the US there's a real how you call it there's a real issue that we have to address is that we don't live in Haiti, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we can't see if we're saying that we can't like foreign organizations can't go into Haiti and dictate what should happen.
Mm-hmm.
We should also take that approach because we don't. I don't live in La Salle, right? I don't live in Cap on a daily basis. I may visit, but at the end of the day, the person living on the ground should be telling me what they want,
That's true.
right? I shouldn't just assume just because I know, like I think I know better. And I think that's the mindset that we also want to change is that we need to include local thoughts, local ideas, and influencing foreign policy, and also showing local people how they can influence foreign policy, regardless of where they live. If they live in Haiti, regardless of where you live, how your decision and your input can influence foreign policy.
Mm-hmm. And that actually leads us to our next question, which we kind of somewhat basically answered, to include the perspective of both local Haitians as well as Haitian diaspora in the works. But how are you guys intending to do that? Is it through surveys? Because our community doesn't like taking surveys.
Well, I can't say they don't like taking surveys. I think for a lot, I think we have a language issue too. I'm just gonna touch briefly on the
Yeah.
survey aspect of it. I think we have a language issue, right? I think we prioritize French too much
Mm-hmm.
in surveys, which as a survey, you kind of like create your own bias because the only people who can complete the survey are the ones who speak French. And not everybody in Haiti, well, majority of the population doesn't speak French in Haiti. So when people see certain surveys using big words in French, they're like, that's not
What
for
is
me
that?
anyway. Yeah, what is that? It's not for me. And I think there are some groups in Haiti that do great work when it comes to surveys. I think for one of them is Policite. Policite just did a public survey in Haiti and they got like maybe like 2,000 responses, something like that. So there are groups that are doing great work, but I think we need to change how we word things and how we, our language. And I think prioritizing Creole is one of the main ways that we do that. And also using audio, doing audio surveys because a lot of people can't read. And
Yeah.
how can we use different just thinking of like accessibility, creating accessible surveys, accessible policies when it comes to gathering information to include a lot of people. So, but to go back to your question, how do we include um, both local Haitians and Haitians living abroad? Um, we've we've intentionally reached out to a lot of people, especially even people in the Haitian government as well, because we understand that um, Haiti needs the Haitian government. And when I say it again, I'm making it very clear. When I say the Haitian government, I don't mean just the president or the
Mm-hmm.
prime minister. I'm talking about Department of Health. I'm talking about agriculture. I'm talking about um, tourism. And these are all stakeholders beyond the president. Because a lot of times the local civil servants, they stay in those positions regardless of who's in power.
Yeah.
Right? Some of them. The ministers may change, but the person who's working there for 30 years have been there for 30 years and they've seen multiple different iterations of government. And at the end of the day, they hold that knowledge, the institutional knowledge that's there. So we make sure to connect with them. We make sure to understand how what Haiti's like the specific agencies within Haiti, what are their strategic plan? What are their priorities? What are the things like if we're meeting with Minister of Health, what are their 10-year plan? And what are the policies, the foreign policies coming from the US or whichever country that are impacting that plan? And how can we, on our end, influence foreign policy so so whatever policy they put towards Haiti, the foreign policy is tailored to Haiti, to Haiti's goal. Not Haiti's goal tailoring itself to the foreign policy, but the foreign policy tailoring itself to Haiti. And I think this is where the bridge that the gap that we bridge, where we say like, we are supporting local policy by connecting it to foreign policy. And we gladly let local Haitians take the lead on this because we understand that they are the subject matter experts in this, right? I'm not, but if I was an ecologist or if I was an architecture, an architect, I may be an architect or public service person in the US, but that does not translate to Haiti because I don't work there. I don't understand the day-to-day aspect of things. You know, I don't understand how if someone, I mean, I know how to get a birth certificate, right? If you need a birth certificate, you know where to go. However, it's a very different process in the US. So you can't say just because you know how to do this one thing here, you
Doesn't
also
mean
understand how to do it in Haiti.
over there.
It's a whole, because there are some places, there are some places in Haiti, you go to the, to like if you're in Port-au-Prince, you go to Sadachiv, you go get an Sadachiv to the government. But there are some parts in Haiti, you go to the Catholic Church. It depends on where you are.
Do that.
Exactly. Exactly. And the Catholic Church fills certain roles like where the government is lacking. And these are all the nuances that we understand that we need. And that's why we make sure like we talk with government officials in Haiti. We talk with government officials here in the US. We talk with nonprofit organizations that are doing great work in Haiti, understand the challenges that they have, right? And also, how can we, one, influence foreign policy, but also how can we start moving the needle towards self-sufficiency? Changing foreign policy, changing how aid is delivered in Haiti, and to lead towards self-sufficiency where Haiti is not depending on aid, right? And even when we really think about foreign policy and changing that narrative, changing going towards self-sufficiency, even in foreign policy, where Haiti relies on the international community to tell it what to do in terms of like who should be president, influencing certain things like when should we have elections, with the upcoming or potentially Kenya mission.
Yeah.
The election or the Kenya mission that's happening, these are all decisions that are being made with Haiti, of course, but that's being led by the US.
That's true.
And it's like, how can we move away from that model to dependency? It's not just dependency on foreign aid, it's also dependency on foreign policy, dependency on policies in general, because there are people who think they know how to run Haiti. But so far, it hasn't been proven, because it has not been proven to be right. So, yeah.
I'm like, don't get me started. No, but honestly speaking, I feel like you guys are actually doing a phenomenal job. And as well as the contents that you guys are putting out there, the illustration, as well as the narrative that is being put out there, is you guys are coming up with facts, with you could say links after links where people can go on and click and actually read up on certain aspect of things. It's funny because, like, my Creole is not that great. Okay? Don't judge me. Do not judge me. Okay?
You're not the other one. You're not the other one. You're not the other one.
So the article, c'est graisse cochon qui crie de cochon. First of all, I translate that word for word and then came to find recently that is a metaphor.
You didn't know?
I did not know.
Oh.
Okay? I did not know that was a metaphor for basically you work with what you have, right?
Yep.
I did not know that. So I'm also learning a lot from you guys. And I guess my next question is, what role does Haiti Policy House see for itself shaping Haiti's future in terms of governance, security, and economic development? You kind of somewhat touched base on how you guys work with the government, the local government, as well as like here. But what is the role that you see in the near future?
So in the near future, I see Haiti Policy House like a hub. Right. And I think there aren't that many places that are neutral in the Haitian space, because
did you say neutral or neutral? Sorry.
Neutral.
Thank you.
Neutral. So one of the first challenge that we had when we first launched is that people wanted us to pick a side. Whether you're for this, whether you're against this, even when they announced the UN mission, right? People wanted us to stand strongly against it or strongly for it, and I didn't buckle. But the thing is, like, we don't have a space where we can have a neutral debate about certain things, right? If some people have certain platforms that are for it, some have platforms that are against it, but they never come together to actually have a conversation. They're just talking at each other at a distance, but never together, right? And Haiti Policy House, one of the main things that we see ourselves as a hub. Like, we can be whatever it is you support, come over to the table, let's have a discussion about it. As long as it's based on facts, as long as it's based on the best intention to help Haiti, you're welcome. And the other thing too is, like, we think the Haitian community is like this, we all look the same, but we don't. We all have different priorities. Even politically, there are a lot of Haitian Republicans.
That's true.
Right? There are a lot of Haitian Republicans. And at the end of the day, that doesn't mean they love Haiti any less.
That's true.
And they actually want to help. I've met with a lot of them. And I'm like, listen, I don't care if you're a Republican. I don't care if you're a Democrat in the US. Whatever country you're in, I don't care what policy you vote for.
Mm-hmm.
if it is to help Haiti, you're welcome to the table.
It's not
And
only,
same,
sorry, go ahead.
no, I say it's the same thing. It's like when it comes to what's happening in Haiti, whether you're for something or against it, your point is valid
Yes,
because it's just another way of solving this issue.
for sure.
One may be harder than the other, but you're also right. We are all right, you know? And I think that's the role that Haiti Policy House will take is that um, bringing people together, not just to have dialogue, just to have that. We have a lot of dialogues. We have too many dialogues,
But
right?
no
But
action, no actions.
no action, right?
Yes.
So we last year we launched the SOS series. It's a speaker series where it's solution oriented speaker series, right?
Mm-hmm.
Short for SOS. And the goal is how can we have policy dialogues? How can we have discussions um, that are geared towards actions? Like at the end of it, what are three things that we can do today to move the needle forward, right? And that's the thing that we always put in the back of our head, even with our recent article about the sanctions, where we talk about where we made this very simple equation: A plus B equals C, right? If you support gangs,
Mm-hmm.
B for political reasons, to do okay, A plus B plus C, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
If you support gangs or provide weapons to gangs, two, to do violence, three, for political reasons, by definition, that equals to terrorism, right? And just creating that dialogue, and also at the end of it saying, this is what we can do to change this narrative. And it's a dicey situation where the people told us not to take, but at the end of the day, we have to be the ones to make that leap. And that brings me to my next point is like being brave enough to talk about the things that we as a community are afraid to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And there are certain topics, even you and I have talked about this before,
Right.
but there are topics that some of us are not comfortable saying in public because
I
we
mean,
understand.
I would say like unfortunately society has become so victim minded that unfortunately they don't have a tendency to be open minded for other people's opinions and actually sit on the same table and hear people out, but instead would I guess like hit the mark, I guess like rentrer le nano rather than actually like hear what it is that you're trying to say, look it up to see if whether or not it's fact, and then do a little more research to be like, okay, let's have a intellectual conversation, let's have a
Yeah.
debate, and not really like hurt the person emotionally or whatever. Let's just like really sit down and dissect this conversation and come up with a solution. And I
Yep.
guess like, regurgitating your question back to you. So what is three actions that you could say us as a, not only as a think tank, but as nonprofits, as individuals, as Haitian diaspora, what can we do in the US market or the Canadian market or elsewhere? What can we do to maybe influence some of the policies that are being created, I guess, where Haiti is like within context?
We need to agree on what we want as a community. We need to have one voice,
Okay.
right? We need to have, I think the issue that we have is that we're talking about the same thing, but different ways.
Mm-hmm.
And we think the ways that we're talking about it is the right way because we're the ones saying it, right?
Mm-hmm.
If we're talking about hospitals, or you may care about hospitals, right? Healthcare. Like I'm only for healthcare. We need healthcare. Boom, 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 boom. And somebody else brings up education, right? And then
Mm-hmm.
that person truly cares about education. But then we start competing against each other. Like one of them is prioritized over the other, but no,
Yeah.
they're both needed, right? And how can, when I say we need to agree with what we want, how can we as one voice say that as a Haitian community, we want education and healthcare
Mm-hmm.
together? How can we put that together and just approach that as one instead of saying, coming from left side saying, no, we want education, no, we want healthcare. No, we want both, we both want the same thing,
That's true.
but let's say it with one voice. I think one of the main issues that with attending meetings in DC and really the foreign policy is that you go into rooms and people tell you, hey, you guys will say one thing, but there's been three different groups that came here and said something completely different. But those three other groups may have said three things that are related to each other.
Mm-hmm.
But we're not communicating to come together as one voice.
There's
like, for instance,
division within our own community. The l'union fait la force is really non-existent.
Yeah. But again, too, there hasn't been a space that brings it all together.
Yep.
To say, hey, as an organization, similar to like an organization that has talking points, right? What are our talking points when it comes to Haiti? If you meet somebody today, what are the three things that Haiti needs, right? How can we come together to decide whenever we meet somebody, anyone else is going to say these three things? For instance, I saw the senator from Rhode Island give a speech last week at the NEON conference, the National Haitian American Elected Official Network. He was giving a speech. He gave the kudos to the Haitian community for coming together, blah, blah, blah. And in the end, he switches to, here are the accomplishments of the Democratic Party. Besides what he said about himself, he's like, this is what we as the Democratic Party have done. It's not about himself, it's about the entire Democratic Party. And the same thing for the Republicans. They do the same thing. As the Republican Party, this is what we have done, right? And as a Haitian community, we can talk about our priorities as individuals, as individual organizations, but as a Haitian people, we need to come and say, this is what we want. And I think one thing I would say is bringing together all of the professional networks and advocacy groups that are doing great work, that will actually have direct connections to policymakers in the US and wherever they live, and bringing everybody together to say like, hey, these are all talking points. I don't care who you meet. I don't care what you do. If you forget, go back to these points. If anybody asks you,
and this is where the research actually comes in that you guys are doing, as well as other people are also putting out there, is that we need the data to actually validate our talking point. We cannot just make baseless statements. And even though some of us know it's true, but we don't have the data to back it up.
The only talking point we have is the earthquake. With the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere, the assassinated president, the current gang issue that we're having. These are all talking points at the moment, and these are not talking points that we came up with. These are talking points that people outside of Haiti came up for us, and that's why again we go back to ownership, owning our narrative, and coming up with our own talking points as a community. What do we want and what do we need? So whenever we meet people, and that's one thing that we're driving to, is having data, like you said. If we say we want X, Y, Z, why? Because there are X amount of schools, X amount of students that have only been for like X amount of months per year. So yeah.
Honestly, I love that. And I guess last question for you is, how can people support you? You know, we love money. We love money. But how can people support Haiti Policy House?
I mean, of course, like I'll never say no to donations. I never say no to donations. But one thing you see, it's very intentional, is that Haiti Policy House, we don't make our organization like a donation focused outreach. We have a donation button on our website. However, we do understand there are things that are more important than money. And one of them is connections. And in foreign affairs and foreign policy, and connections is as important as money. It's gold. And that's why when people reach out to me and say, hey, how can I help you? And they're always surprised when I don't say money. I'm like, hey, connect me who you know. Connect me to who you know. And then, because when we do publish an article, we send it to those people. And right now we have connections in very high places, but how can we have more? You're on board, so you on board, what's happening in the back end. So we have great connections, but how can we have more? How can we have more Like if there's something that came out recently by the city, who can we call to make sure that we have a different perspective on this, right? And how can we build relationships where agencies are reaching out to us for inputs on policies related to Haiti? The thing is, people don't know is like each agency within the US, whenever they're putting out a plan, they have to get public input, right? And right now, they're reaching out to different organizations. But right now, USAID just released their, the deadline passed, but they put out their strategic plan and asking for public inputs. These are all things that we need to understand and how can we influence policy. This is how we can influence them because there is a way, a mechanism to do that. And we need to put ourselves in places. So one way that people can help us is connections. Another one is, of course, donating and also volunteering. Volunteering, and it's like not in a sense of making phone calls or designing a logo for us. That's fine too. But I think the most impactful volunteer is like somebody who's an expert in something, somebody who knows what they're doing, and say, "Hey, I want to come and study X policy related to Haiti." Go off. Yeah. I love it. Do what you want to do, right? Or they come and say, "Hey, I want to do this committee about economic development or tourism in Haiti, and I want to bring these people together. And as Haiti Policy House, I want you guys to back the report that we come up with." Sure, I would love that, So there are a lot of things that are worth more than money. While money is great, there are a lot of things that are worth more than money in terms of like helping Haiti. So this is how I say like people can help. And also follow us on Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and also subscribe to our newsletters to stay up to date to what we're doing.
I honestly love that. And this is really my last question, I promise. What does reimagining philanthropy means to you, plus IT means to you?
Oh man, that is how you call it? One of those what's that question called again? Like a hot topic question. Reimagining philanthropy. In terms of Haiti, I'll say, again, we're talking about self-sufficiency, self-reliance, like being able to help ourselves. I think for the longest, philanthropy in Haiti, or aid, as you would call it, have kind of in some places replaced the government. And also that allowed the government to also pass on ownership. It's like, hey, like I didn't build this road for you, so don't ask me to fix it. I didn't build this school for you, so don't ask me to fix it. And that's the way that the government can like remove like accountability. And I think reimagining philanthropy is that's another way of, when we're thinking of policy, how can we put certain policies around philanthropy, around aid, to ensure that local government and local leaders are part of the conversation. Like if you're gonna build a $10 million school in Tigouave, yeah, it's a great idea. Great, However, Tigouave's economy does not equal to $10 million. So 5 years down the line, when your project ran its course and then you moving on to the next thing, this $10 million school is not being sustained by Tigouave. This can't be sustained by Tigouave. First of all, Tigouave doesn't even have enough students to fill a $10 million school. You know what I mean? I might be wrong. You can correct me if I'm wrong. However, these are all policies. While philanthropy is great in terms of like helping Haiti, but we need to think beyond just building things. And the other thing too is like the financial component of philanthropy as well, because there are a lot of philanthropy that are being done in Haiti that are not exactly. They're more. It's like a pseudo. I don't want to say pseudo nonprofits, but they're more geared towards a return. Yeah. Right. And they're building schools, they're donating money. However, their livelihood depends on Haiti remaining where it is, so they can build the next 10 schools. I mean, there are hospitals that actually are empty, literally empty. Exactly. So how can we make sure, if you're a foundation, if you are a grant-making foundation that is doing work in Haiti, part of your policy in terms of like reviewing grants should be, how is this project going to be self-reliant?
Mm-hmm.
And how does this what if you say the hospital's budget, if you build a hospital, right, and the yearly budget is 5 million for this hospital for a year, and the local economy is not $5 million, or let's say like the entire local economy is $5 million, including everything that's included in it, right? So now, how can this local economy that's entirely is $5 million support one school that is $5 million in the long term? So these are the things I wish we input in philanthropy, in grant making, and policy in Haiti. Again, that is another aspect of foreign policy as well. So there are so many different aspects, there's so many different ways to come at it, but I think reimagining philanthropy is also applying in the context of Haiti and removing certain things that are not sustainable towards growth, and also putting accountability as well.
I love that. Thank you. And I appreciate you coming on today.
No, thank you for having me. I truly appreciate you. You've been doing this work for a long time. I've known you forever. And I think this is probably like the biggest project we've worked on so far. We've done a lot of different things in the past, and I think this is the biggest project that we've worked on so far. And I truly appreciate you. And whenever I call, you're always like, you know what do you need? And I and I love it. So therefore, like, I'm always open. Whenever you call, I'm like, what do you need? Whatever you need, you got it. And I think this is how we should model the Haitian community. Like, if you need something, I got you. If you're better at something, like when we're building Haiti Policy House, I'm like, Debbie, you've done this before. I need your help to help me, because I can figure it out, but you can figure it out a lot faster than I can. So I'm like, there's no reason why I shouldn't work with you to do this as well. So I truly appreciate it.
And thank you for actually thinking of me when you actually started IT Policy House.
Yeah. Well, there's nobody else. I was like, listen, there's only one person I'm going to reach out to.
Again, thank you for coming today. And obviously, I'll talk to you later. And I guess goodbye, everyone else. We'll link
Thank
all
you
the
so much.
information needed for IT Policy House in order for you to learn more about them and also to support the work that they are doing. Donation. We love donation. Bye.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Bye.